Hello. Hey, beautiful. How are you today?
Hey, beautiful.
Welcome back to the pod, everyone. We're so excited for you to be with us today and for us to be with you. We are just so honored to be able to hold space together for what's going on in our lives and in the world, which, man, that's
Is
a
a
lot.
lot.
Am I right?
Hey, beautiful people. I am just, every episode I'm just flabbergasted. What is the word?
Flabbergasted.
Thank you. About the number of people that have been listening to our podcast. And it just makes my heart so happy. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So, for many people, we have hit the hot summer months. Roberta and I are here on the East Coast, and humidity is a thing. It's kind of the devil. But we've got like a heat dome coming in. We've got the kids home from school. There's a lot of transition over here in the DC area, and so we're just really, like, literally feeling the heat right now. So we want to take a minute and just kind of relate to everybody with what's going on in, in life and in our houses, because we each live in this microcosm within our homes, our relationships, our communities, and it's certainly a period of transition right now, not just between seasons, but between ways of living, and what's going on inside our home. So I have a couple amazing kiddos who are old enough to be home. I keep overestimating their age, actually, but who are old enough to be home during the summer, and it's been amazing to have them around. But I'm just curious if anybody else feels the shift in the energy from when you are working from home on your own versus working from home with other people's energy in the house. And Roberta, I don't know, were you able to work from home when your kids were little, or
No,
you were in the
no,
office?
that wasn't a thing. But I remember, well, also like when you take time off during the summer, right? And I remember hanging out. They did different things. They did some camps, or they were in like an all day, their school. I was lucky for a while because their school offered a summer program that there was a daycare that worked in the school, and they were able to stay there. So with a lot of their friends and, and all that, and it helped. But I also remember one summer that I was in between jobs and being at home with the kids, and you have two boys. I mean, they eat a lot. I just remember having to be feeding them all the time, and like the amount of food you go through. I don't know if it's because they were bored and or but they just eat a lot. They eat all the time. So their dishes all the time. You never stop.
Oh my gosh, it is so funny that you mentioned that, because they are literally on their way to a Costco run right now.
Yeah.
I've got my husband's home for a holiday, and so they're going out to Costco to go buy enough food to get through, I don't know, a week or so. And yeah, I'm just like, I don't know how you guys do it, but they're growing and they're so strong and they're so smart and so active. It's like, also coming from like being a girl. I don't know about you, but like I grew up eating minimally, like really just
Yeah.
not allowing myself to eat. And there's no way to grow, right? So being able to watch these kids grow up with a healthy relationship to food. And we talk about nutrition all the time, right? Like, how do we mix proteins and carbohydrates and
Yeah. They don't
blah?
care. They just want to shove things in their mouth. They're hungry all the time. And
They're hungry.
you know, and my son, who is back home from college, he's 20, 23, 24, 23. I lose count. I have three. Um, he needs so much. Like our food costs probably doubled. He probably eats as much or more than my husband and I combined. And my husband's a big boy. Like, and
Oh,
my son probably eats the same. Like, so yeah. So boys just eat. Sorry. And that's what I can remember. And I know there's so much more. Like I remember I loved summer because you didn't have to worry about the homework and the studying and kind of putting them in that structure. It was like, do whatever you want. And, I wasn't the best with, like, bedtime and this and that, especially so during the summer, I loved it. I'm like, "I don't care. You can stay up or you can." And, so not having to be following a structure to me was really, great. Like, I remember that. Like, I really loved them not having to get up early or, and they also love to do nothing. I feel like a lot of parents like to cram a lot of activities and camps and this and that and keep the kids busy. It's okay for them to just play video games or hang around the house or go for a bike ride or do nothing because they're doing so much during the school year that it's okay for them to have that non-structured time. And I think it's probably important for them to have to figure out what to do or keep themselves busy or, that's just how I viewed it.
Yeah. Well, and it's really, really healthy for their brains to get bored, right? Because out of boredom comes creativity. And I just don't know that there's enough boredom in the world, which, is such a millennial, zennial thing to say,
Right?
right?
You don't have to stay busy all the time. You
Yeah.
shouldn't stay busy all the time.
Yeah. We are a bit more structured in the house, and the reason I structured it is for my own sanity, and theirs, but we have how do I say this without making myself sound neurotic? I don't think I can. So we have like approximate wake up times, between 8 and 9, 9 and 10, something like that. And approximate, kitchen open times because you're talking about that eating, right? It's like, okay, the kitchen is open for breakfast from 9 to 10 and then for lunch like 11:30 to 1. And it's really just about having like some time between where there's something else going on
Mhm.
besides just one thing or another. So we have, like, kitchen open times, we have a quiet time, which over the last couple of years, they've really hated, but this year, they're like, "You know what? That's great. It's 1 hour, no screens." They're both in their rooms doing their own thing, so it gives them the ability to read or do their comics. They're both entrepreneurs, which is I don't
Love
know how
it.
they do it. They're amazing. But it gives them time to, like, shut down all of that screen stuff that I know I didn't have as a kid. So boredom was, like, our middle name, and
Mhm.
outside time, untethered outside time was normal for us, and it's just not the way it works now. We've also got them walking the dog twice a day, so I'm not getting in my steps anymore, which is not so good, but they're taking responsibility for the dog,
Mhm.
so it's like a nice flexible structure so they know what to do at any given time, but I don't have to really manage it. And so that's why this is set up for my sanity,
Yeah.
is at least during that 1 hour that they're in their rooms, I don't have to worry about where they are, what they're doing, what they're getting into, what they have access to, and I feel like that sounds selfish, but at a certain point, you just really need to be selfish when you've got
Yeah.
other people around all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm working and doing sessions all day and doing the administrative stuff. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
sometimes I just need to have it a little quiet so I can, as they say, lock in and
I
get
love
some
it.
things done.
I love and I love this, like, I think you guys already know that Christy and I are very different, and that's the special thing in our relationship, right? It's like you
Hmm.
get different perspectives. Like I learned so much. Like if I was listening to her talk now, I'm like, Damn, maybe I should do that, put some structure around it." Because I'm very like, oh, whatever kind of person, and I think there isn't a right or a wrong. It's just what works for you, and like, I'm more relaxed and happier if I don't have to worry about a structure. Christy is more relaxed and happy if she has a structure and knows what's going on. And I respect that. I know a lot of people, and I'm sure there are other types too, right? Something in between,
Sure. We're not the only two people in the world.
right? I'm sure there are other types, but I love that. I love that we can give different perspectives on things. And because I think if people only hear one perspective and it's different from theirs, they might be like, oh man, I'm doing it wrong. Or they start to judge themselves, you know? So
Exactly.
right? So I think this is like so important to be like learn from each other a little bit. Oh, okay, maybe there's too much structure here, or maybe I should let my kids move whatever. Or I should be like, oh, maybe I should incorporate some structure in my way. Or so I just felt like I had to say that you just heard, two very different perspectives, and they're both okay. It's whatever works for you, right? And I think it's important to tell parents right now in the summer, like, you don't have to follow a rule from someone else in your neighborhood or in your group
Yeah.
of parents that, presents themselves in a strong way that makes you feel like, oh, that must be the only right way.
Yeah. When I was listening to you, I was like, "Oh, man, that's so smart. That's so nice. She gets to be relaxed about that and not have a schedule." And, like, I would love to do that. So I did start to judge myself a little bit and go, "Well, Kristy, why can't you just relax during the summer?" Like, it's interesting because the judgment wasn't going towards the other way of someone parenting, it was going towards myself, and so
Hmm.
I'm so, so glad you brought that up because we can hear other people's stories or perspectives or
Yeah.
habits or neuroses and judge ourselves based on that, and there's just no room for that in our world, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for bringing that up.
I agree. Cause I remember, especially because I'm a young parent and I was a young parent when my kids were little. I always thought I was doing it wrong, right? And it's
Mm.
like, and I would see these other older, more, mature. Now I'm like, yeah, right. Doesn't matter. We're all messing it all up. Like nobody knows
Oh, yeah, for
no
sure.
one has the formula for raising perfect kids. You just do what works for you. But at the time, I remember feeling a type of way sometimes, like, oh wow, they have all these camps and they're doing all those things. I one, I couldn't afford it, and two, I'm like, I just think my kids want a break. Or so it's just to say, don't get wrapped up in the influences from because every family is different. Everyone's different, which we already covered here. Everyone's very different. Every family is very different. Every dynamic, every kid is different, right? Every child needs something different. So do what works for you and don't feel pressured about what everybody else is doing, right? Like just say
Yeah.
great for you and move on with your own life and rest. Don't forget to rest.
Don't forget.
You can probably notice I had a really busy week. It's not even over yet, but I'm dragging a little bit because there's been so much going on, but at the same time, it's warm. And when it's hot out, you need to slow down, right? Like you need to slow down. And this is also something I learned from Ayurvedic medicine. Because I always felt, oh, it's summer. We need to be outside. We need to be moving. We need to be doing things. And Ayurveda, if you've ever heard about it or know anything about it, it's the oldest medicine. It's not a scientific medicine, but it's the oldest type of medicine we've had. Like it's 5,000 years old.
Yeah,
So
like
I
an ancient practice. Yeah.
practice. Thank you. And it blew my mind because I said, that makes sense. In the winter, we should be moving to warm our bodies, right? And in the spring or whatever. And summer, you feel that air being heavy and it's harder to move through it. And we're like, I need to be outside. It's warm out. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. You don't. It's the time to slow down. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, and you sharing that with me because I have a lot of ancient practices that I, employ as well, but when you shared that with me from Ayurveda, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that just resonates so much." And, in ancient Chinese medicine, there's the 5 elements, right? Fire, metal, wood, metal is also air, water, and earth. And so I've looked to those to kind of go, "Okay, well, what season is it, and where does my body naturally align with that season?" And my element, my personality element is, that's an understatement, personality, but my element is fire. So I'm already a hot, flaming mess when I'm out of balance, right? a panicky, neurotic mess. And then you add the oppressive heat, at least here in this humid climate, the oppressive heat of summer, and like you can forget it. I have lost my marbles. I have straight lost my marbles for 3 months. And so my whole goal is to try to just corral my marbles every summer. Okay. And having the permission to rest instead of go sorry for the phrasing, but, like, instead of go balls to the wall every summer, which was what I thought I was supposed to do,
Mhm.
like, "Oh, it's summer, you gotta go hard."
Right.
No,
No, you
summer's not
don't.
the season for going hard. There are seasons for that. Summer is not it. So, and this is a great opportunity, Roberta, for us to talk about what we're doing to get through
Yeah,
the the seasons and the summer in this case.
yeah.
And one of those things is just get the heck out of Dodge.
Ah, go to the pool. Well, and let me also recognize that some people might run cold and might love the summer, and that's fine, right? So
Yes.
it's like totally understand that. And I'm from Brazil. I'm from the South. So I should love heat, and I do. But over time, I I used to crave for summertime and not be okay at all in the winter. And as I age happily and healthily and loving it, but you get to that perimenopause time and you get now I don't love summer so much anymore. And it's
Oh,
hard and it's okay. So it's okay to recognize those differences too and being okay with. So great if you run cold and you're like, man, I can't wait for summer so I can actually like warm my bones up enough for me to move, or that's fine. So there are all these different stages and all these different things. So I just wanted to.
yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting you said "should," just because of where you're from. You said, "Oh, I should love the heat."
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Funny, haha, because, Brazilians also have different levels of comfort and,
Yeah.
where they sit in their
Different
body.
elements.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. Some people love to warm their bones up. That's so good because a winter element in a winter season or a metal element in a or a water element in a winter season is like doubling down on frigid, right? And their energies move slower. So that's such a great point to come back to is there is absolutely nothing set in stone that is supposed to be for all people. You are an individual on the cellular level and on the soul level. Okay. And you don't even have to buy in to any of these things. You just look at how you feel. And I think that I'm the same way with winter. I used to hate it. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm going to find the beauty in winter because I just can't suffer like this. And
Mhm.
so it it helps that I can see energy, and so I can, like, see the aura around the trees, and I can see and feel the seeding that happens during winter, and so we as people will tend to go deep as well, and we will seed ourselves. It's slow down, it's grow start to grow teeny tiny roots, and get ready for spring, and spring I don't know if you guys noticed this, but for me, I can't unsee it, is when everybody just starts charging forward. It's like shoots come through the ground and we have all these ideas and we're ready to go and we feel more able to take action. And then I'm like, oh, it's spring. It's great. I love it. It's great. And then it turns summer and I'm like, and I'm a crusty, sad, hot, flamed out, piece of something. So then I have to go, okay, well, I'm going to take this for what it is. The summer season is, you know, helping other people grow. It's helping me find rest. And then you move through like that. So that's a lot about elements and individuals, I guess.
No, I love it. And do we want to talk about? So we I love that we started with summertime and kids and what's going on because so many people are probably going through that. So be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself. Take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay. Kids are very resilient. They don't need much. You throw them some food, you give them water, you bathe them once a week, and they'll be fine. Everything else,
They sound like puppies.
right? Everything else is us putting pressure on ourselves. So Everything's gonna be fine. Just trust that. My kids survived. They're all great and dandy. Uh, but also there's the individuality of summer, right? Like, which we just shared. Like, how do we feel, right? Besides the kids, how can we make ourselves whole? How can we feel good to get through it and, and enjoy a vacation we have planned or whatever. So should we share? Christy and I just had the greatest pleasure to go to this workshop. Should we share that? Because I'm using it a lot and it's really helping me. Um, and I think it's just a great little extra to have during every day of your life, but during the summer because of all the transitions and changes you just talked about, kids out of
Yeah.
school and the seasons. You gotta believe in what each season bring and how that moves energy and changes the energy around you. And I've learned so much about it from Christy. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about what we just experienced, what it is, however you want to bring it up. And I'll just insert my perspective throughout.
Yeah, absolutely. So just for context, what Roberta's talking about is first of all, the getting the heck out of Dodge is really important, is finding that time to get away from the day to day. And
Hmm.
that's something that we have really actively tried to do for the last couple of years is once a quarter try to get away for a night, a weekend, something like that with friends, and that's been really amazing. But this workshop that we attended was actually led by a woman named Prune Harris, who is one of the preeminent figures in energy medicine. So I've studied a lot of different types of energy medicine, one of which is called Eden energy medicine, and Donna Eden is the person that pioneered that. So Prune she's worked with Donna. She was on her faculty for like 20 years, but also has her own type of working with energy, her own way of working with energy, which is just like I have. I have my own way of working with energy after having learned a lot of things from various teachers. So, um, we were lucky to be able to go and attend this workshop together. Prune is actually from the UK. She came to Annapolis, Maryland, which is essentially our backyard. And if we didn't just jump on that opportunity. So Roberta, why don't you go ahead and tell us what you learned there, and we'll kind of go back and forth. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. I'm wondering if for those people who don't know, and that's something I mentioned to you at the workshop because you're an expert, you've been certified, but I was just attending as, hey, yeah, I'd love to go with you. And there was no introduction to what it was, probably because she expected that everyone in there followed her um, method and knew enough about her. So, can you just say a little bit about what is energy medicine to begin with?
What an amazing point. That was very true because a lot of the people there had been following her for like 10, 15 years. So, what is energy medicine? Reiki. Most people have heard of Reiki, and that is something that's become, or acupuncture is another form
Yeah.
of moving energy throughout the body. So, there are a lot of ways of talking about it, but the ones that most people are familiar with are Reiki and acupuncture, perhaps even reflexology.
Hmm.
It's ways of identifying where energy travels inside and outside of the body and then being able to manipulate it. And so you can manipulate energy physically with the needles going into the meridians, which are kind of like veins of energy. They've actually been proven in the last couple of years to exist. They didn't have measurements for them before. And then reflexology and all the meridians are tied to not just energy channels, but also organs inside the body. So you can work with the energy of a particular organ in all kinds of different ways. With Reiki, you're moving the energy all, without touch, really. So you're working with the subtle energies of the electromagnetic field that we all have. Again, another proven um, scientific reality is that we all have an electromagnetic field. So the kind of energy that prune works with and that Eden energy medicine works with is kind of all of the above. It can be physical on the body, working with those meridians. It can be physical off the body, so manipulating the energy within your aura at various points. And then it can also be visualization. So if you've ever heard the term where attention goes, energy flows, that's what we're talking about. That is energy medicine. It's visualizing moving energy in one direction or another. Um, and where it gets really fun is when you know where to move the energy to or from, then you can manipulate the field in and towards health. Okay. And we would say balance, really, because we can't claim to say that it is a cure or anything
Right.
like that, but it's really finding balance.
Yeah.
So the elements was a great example. If I'm a fire kind of personality, then I get more into balance during the winter because my fire is tamped down a little bit. And I get more out of balance, right, corralling my marbles in the summer. So you have to learn tools that balance that, or you don't have to learn tools, but I sure did,
Mhm.
that balance those energies. Is that helpful, Roberta? Did I cover
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah. That was perfect. Even as an amateur, I got so much out of it. And it's only been 1 week, 2 weeks?
Two, I think.
2 weeks already? And, I have been doing the very basic, right? Because I didn't want to overwhelm myself because I learned so much. It was a 2-day workshop, and I was so honored to have met her. She's such a special, and you can go to Prue Harris' website or find her on Instagram if you want to learn more about her and learn some of these things that Kristy and I are talking about. Or you can schedule an appointment with Kristy and she can heal you. She can work on that healing with you.
I can help get you into balance using the
Yes.
various methods. Yes.
Well, she healed me so many times, so I can say it. But so I've been working with Kristy with that, right? And again, you learn, but then you have your own method and you just like everything else in life, right? Everyone can go to school for psychology and you're not going to teach this, you're not going to practice the same way that the student next to you is going to practice. You're going to take that learning and do what works for you.
Yes.
Um and it was, and I think both for Kristy and I was great to hear a different perspective. Would you say so? Because we had some aha moments. Like you've had yours, I had mine, and I think we both have some of the same. And because she's such a peaceful, grounding presence, and she had some really good points. But I would just say for me, I mentioned it's a really busy time at work, which is really exciting, but that doesn't mean, I really love what I'm doing right now, but that doesn't mean sometimes it's not stressful because, the responsibility. And so I'm really grateful that I went to this workshop just before this time hit because I try to give myself, even if it's 5-10 minutes in the morning before I go to work, to do some of these exercises that help balance yourself. And I think for me, um, I work well with image, which you don't have here. We're mostly it's mostly audio, but the image of what's around you, what's beyond your physical body is something that everyone should learn about. Um, because then you can visualize feeding that part of yourself as well,
Yeah.
right? It's not just about nurturing your physical body, but is what are you doing for your soul, which is that layer right outside your physical body that kind of carries you, right? So I truly believe in the physical body and the energetic and and the energy around you that kind of guides you. And it can also protect you, right? Like
Yes.
we taught, and you mentioned maybe last episode we moved energy even before we went to the workshop.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You brought that up and we talked about moving that, what did you call it? Plasma, right? Around. And that was really good to help me visualize. But so if you think about that theory that Krista mentioned of that plasma around you, and if you become really conscious about what you allow in that space, then you can really stay healthy and stay connected to your physical body.
Because we don't have the visuals for the most part, I just want to kind of make it a little bit more clear about these exercises that Roberta's talking about are physical movements or intentional visualizations
Right.
that can help to move or direct energy. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been studying for years and years, and that's what Prune was sharing with this group. And it's interesting because this group wasn't a bunch of practitioners,
Right.
really. It was a bunch of people that have been following her to learn how to manage energy in their own lives. And that is key. So I think that's what you're talking about, Roberta, is learning how to manage your own energy.
Yeah.
And the first step is knowing that you have it. So many of us are disconnected from not just from our bodies, but also from our energy system. So if you can recognize that one, you have an electromagnetic field, and
Hmm.
two, you are essentially a fish in water and your movements can ripple throughout that water and affect other people or yourself, then that's really key. And someday that's going to be taught in grade school
I
or
hope so.
preschool. But right now we're a society that's so disconnected from our body and our field that we let or, or we're kind of pushed into going so far out of balance that we develop physical illness. And that is I used to think, "Oh, I got this chronic illness and I worked with my energy and now I feel better." I used to think like that was a unique story, and it's not.
Sort of huge.
Every single person that I work with or that I know has been in a space where we call it burnout a lot of times, where they have burnt out so much that they've become physically ill. And so, what energy work does, and what Prune, I think, helped you understand on another level from our work together, because everything sinks in deeper and deeper the more you learn about it and the more people talk about
Right.
kind of the similar things, is it gives us more control over how we interact in the world. And it gives us more control over how we treat ourselves and how we honor our feelings, both mental, emotional, but also physical. If you are exhausted, then your energy is literally depleted. Like we're fine with talking about energy in two ways. One, do I have enough energy to run a marathon? I need to have a lot of carbohydrates, right? And two, the energy that comes into our home and turns our lights on. Well, both of those things are also in our system. So that electromagnetic field is your aura. And what you referred to, Roberta, is our connection is also our protection. So a lot of people allow a lot of energy into their system unknowingly. I do it all the time. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to know, and I don't
Yeah. We're
sometimes.
still human trying to learn.
Exactly. So being connected to your energy system and realizing that you have some control over it is really the game changer because you can say, hey, you know what? I want to connect. We call it grounding. You've probably heard of that as well. Ground down, wrap roots into the core, and then ground up to what I call the central sun. It's just what's comfortable for me. You can call it God, source, whatever you want. But for me, grounding is down and grounding is up. And then that strengthens my entire aura and all of the energy that can sometimes feel like death by a thousand cuts. You have more of a barrier around that. And the last thing I'll say on this is that energy work is easy. Okay. And it's fast. It's easy and it's fast. So it's like a secret shortcut that shouldn't be secret, and it should be short. Energy is easy, and so you wanna work with your energy because it works from outside in or from inside out
Yeah.
simultaneously. It's chicken or the egg, but it's both. So it's like an untapped tool to the Western world that we
Yeah.
wanna open up to more people. So
Yeah.
thank you. Soapbox done.
No, no. I mean, and that's what we do here, right? That's why we wanted to start this podcast because we want to share what we've learned and what we're dealing with and what we learned so that other people can, we want to create that ripple effect.
Yes. Yes. Push that plasma.
And Prune talked about that too. And she said that is the only way to change the world. That
Mhm.
is the only way. She made it so simple, right? And it is simple. That is the only way you can change the world is by finding that peace within yourself and creating that ripple effect to the person next to you. And she showed us in the workshop how one's energy can change the other one that's at the other end of the room. and
Yes.
and it's insane. And I'll share too, back to what we were talking about, that everyone's different and what works for one doesn't work for the other. That was another big aha moment for me
Mhm.
because in this aspect, um we did a lot of visualization type of exercise, and that means meditation basically.
I can see the comparison, yeah, but I don't want people to turn off because sometimes that word makes it feel difficult.
Right, and that's my point.
There you go.
And that's my point. So you can be moving energy by literally doing specific movements that you can learn from Prim's website, or for her Instagram, and Kristy's too. I know you have videos, don't you? Because you used to share those. Yeah, Kristy's website, radiantlifeconsulting.com. You check. I do like yours because they're more I don't know. Check Chrissy's out, and you can check Prim's out too, but n n Chrissy has examples of some of these movements, and you make them specific. I actually just watched one of Prim's Instagram this morning, but she doesn't really say, like, what that can help you with all the time. You make it specific, like, if you feeling this way or you're doing that. So, anyway, check out
Oh,
Chrissy's
yeah.
website.
That's
But
cool.
he
Okay.
but here is what was great for me. As you can probably tell, I do have some ADHD and I'm all over the place. And, please accept me the way that I am. I'll be talking about one thing and then I jump to another. I do it to Christy all the time. So for me, sitting down, breathing, and trying to visualize something was very hard. Even in the workshop, we were there doing things with Prune, and I'm sitting there and I'm taking my breaths, and I've done it, and I've practiced meditation for a long time, and it's always really hard for me to sit still. It takes a long time. I will set my timer for like 10, 15 minutes, and when the timer goes off, that's when I'm finally starting to get somewhere.
Yeah.
um and so Prue showed us visualization, quiet, still type of moving energy, and and body movements, right?
Mm.
Um, and I had to ask her, I said, I cannot visualize crap while we're sitting here still with our eyes closed. Like, I just can't. And I felt defeated because, I feel like I should have accomplished something. And I said, yeah, it makes me really relax because I'm here with my eyes closed, just taking deep breaths, but I can't. And she's talking us through stuff, and I just can't visualize those things. So I asked her, I said, I just, when you're doing the actual physical movements, I'm all in. I'm great. I feel it. I get it. But when you're doing the visualization, quiet, still, she's like, then don't.
Yeah. Yep.
She said, sometimes my best ideas and my best accomplishments come when I'm taking a walk or I'm moving. You can meditate, whatever you call it. You can visualize, you can set intentions, you can do it anyways. You don't have to be sitting still. You need to be focused, right? Well, I shouldn't use the word focus. You need to have intention,
There. Yeah.
right? You need to have intention. I can have that intention walking around, right? You still have the intention. I'm not saying if you don't do anything, things are going to happen. No, that's insanity, right? Um, you do have to set that intention, but you can set that intention in movement, or you can set that intention by sitting still taking breaths, closing your eyes, whatever works for you. So I wanted to bring that up because if you have a hard time sitting down, closing your eyes, trying to meditate or trying to visual, whatever it is you're trying to do, know that that's not the only way to accomplish, that that peace and that intention.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because that was a big one for me.
Yeah. No, it's so, so, so important. And I think the theme of this episode is that there is no one way.
Right.
There is no one way.
Your
And a
way is the
good
right way.
teacher, your way is the right way. Exactly. A good
Yeah.
teacher will let you know that, right? A good teacher will let you know that. Some people need very specific instruction. Some people need the gist.
Mhm.
And I will say when I was learning, we were in a mixed bag. Some people were like, so how many inches off the body do you do the counterclockwise circles? Right. And I was like, hold on. I know
And you
that
talk
sounds
about
simple right
energy
now.
medicine.
And energy
Very
medicine,
prescriptive,
exactly.
very, yeah, detailed.
Yeah. Some people wanted to be very prescriptive with it, but I eventually found that I could move energy without the prescription because that overwhelmed me.
Mhm.
Because we all have different ways of feeling energy as well. Some people have kinesthetic, which is where you can actually feel the energy with your hands, which is something I have. Some people have auditory, some people have visual, some people have what they call digital, which is thinking through it in your brain, and that's how you do it. There's no wrong way. But for me, I got overwhelmed when it was taught in that digital brain sense because I learn through the kinesthetic piece, the feeling and the touching. And one of the things that came through that was so freaking cool is, Prune was talking about, oh, there's a like a hologram that's always upright. And Roberta goes, you told me that, you told me that. And this whole time was so nice. She tapped me on the shoulder, was like, you taught me that, you taught me that. But then in this particular instance, I was working with Roberta a couple of years ago. She was laying on the table and I was like, "It's so weird. I feel your sun star up here." It was, like, perpendicular to where she was
Like
laying.
above my stomach, not my head.
Exactly above your
Yeah.
stomach, not your head. And I thought, "Oh, I'm crazy. I'm doing this wrong." And what Prune did for me that weekend was she just validated that you do you, right?
Yeah.
And what you feel is true, what you think is true. And that brings me back to, I believe that what you believe is true for you, and especially in the realm of working with your own energy. It's just true for you.
Yeah. And I think if it's all in the name of kindness and love and good, you can't be wrong. Right? Like
Yeah.
if you're working on that positive realm. And I love that she said, and you always told me too, and thank God, like you always said, no effort, no effort. And
Hmm.
she always says that a lot too. And because you're trying to put your hands and your fingers and the things at a certain place and put some pressure, and she's like, no pressure, no
Yep.
effort. You
Yep.
just do, like, it doesn't matter if you're 1 inch off, 1 inch on it, the energy's still gonna move. Like, you don't have to worry about it. It's still, you know,
It's that intention.
yeah, it's the intention.
That's
It's
it.
setting that intention. So I think it's great that we paired, these topics because summertime can be fun for a lot of people and summertime can be hard for a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
And um if it's fun for you, try to set an intention for others who have it hard.
Yeah, help a sister out, okay?
Send that love, that peace, that happiness you're feeling, you know, to other people. And if it's hard for you and you need some help, one, you can email us at christyandroberta@gmail.com. You can go to Christy's website, radiantlifeconsulting.com. Um, And you can look up these things because they help, like, they've helped me so much. Like, I've already said here a million times how grateful I am for Kristy and all the things she's taught me. And like you said, I was just excited that you got validation. I always told you were a badass, but it was
Yeah.
great that you heard it from someone who's a teacher in your realm and who could validate all the beautiful things you have been doing that are not necessarily 100% the same as how other people do it, and you saw how powerful they are in their own way. Um, so another example of your way is the right way, yeah, on how you
Yeah.
choose to live your summer with your kids, how you choose to move energy. It's always the same. I think that should be the name of our episode. Your way is the
Your
right way.
way is the right way. I love it. I love it. And you're right, I think we validate each other in a lot of ways, and, I think part of my life's work is to not need that external validation, but I am not there yet, and, that makes me that's actually a pretty vulnerable thing to say. It's
Yeah,
like, "Okay, I need external validation, and someday I won't, but
yeah,
today I do," and so it was really nice to get that from this
yeah.
experience.
Or I would say someday you need less, but I think we always need that. That's human nature. Like, we're always trying to
Mm,
be validated. And I think, um, Oprah said something once that really stuck with me. She said, I've interviewed the Dalai Lama. I've interviewed um, President Obama. I've interviewed Beyonce. I've interviewed, you name it, right? She's interviewed everybody. And she said, the one thing they all say to me when we're done is, how did I do? How was that? Was that okay?
yeah,
And
yeah,
she actually had a clip of Obama saying, how did I do? Was that okay? So it doesn't matter where we are. He was president of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world, and he's seeking validation. So I think it's okay to see, yes, we want to believe in ourselves more and more and more. And, but it doesn't have, it's okay and I feel like that keeps us connected to other people.
yeah,
How did that make you feel? How was that? Right. And it's okay.
yeah. Oh my gosh, look at you changing lives again. I mean, most notably mine. Yeah, you're right. It's not something you don't need to feel ashamed about it. It is part of human nature. It's part of that, connection is protection. I see that two ways. There's connection to your energy system, your field, blah 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 blah, but then there's connection to other people, right? And
Yeah.
that connection between you and me and between everyone that we're talking to right now is a way of making us stronger. The
Yeah.
collective is stronger together, and
Yeah.
not being ashamed of our human nature is just gonna make us stronger and stronger, so thank you for sharing that point.
And at the same time, it's a very scary thing because our words are very powerful.
Yeah.
And we are still baby humans learning how to live and how to be better each day. So we're always going to have to ask, how was that? Did that hurt you? And you and I do this all the time. We'll say something, then we'll come back and say, oh my God, I said this thing. And now I'm worried about it for a week because I didn't mean it this way or that way, and it's okay. We don't wanna
Yeah.
hurt people. We don't want, and I think that validation, everything in moderation, right?
Oh, I validation in moderation, I love it.
There you go. It's okay. You don't want it to be about every single thing I woke up, I brushed my teeth. Oh my God, did I brush it right? Did I brush tooth 1, 2, 3? Like, no. But in moderation, you know, I'll because that's how you learn too, by getting feedback, right?
Yeah. Yep.
From other
Absolutely.
people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging with us during this conversation.
That was fun. I had
This
fun.
was really fun. We have so much fun talking with each other and talking to you, and we can feel the energy of the collective when we're on here doing this. So thank you so much for bringing that energy with us, um, and to us and through us, right?
Yeah,
All that good
sending that
stuff.
ripple
So,
out. We just wanna send that ripple out, you know?
yep, push that plasma
Yeah.
with positive intention.
Yeah, so be kind to yourselves. Hang in there throughout the summer. Don't push yourself. Do what feels good to you. Good luck with the kiddos.
Yeah, or the not kiddos or the dogs. Being home with animals, also really hard.
Yeah.
Being home by yourself, also really hard,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
temperature, getting it right, also really hard, right? And hopefully throughout all of those things that are the joyful struggles of life, we do find the bright spots and we do get extra long hugs and we do get to find times to travel and connect with each other. So, look for those moments of delight and grow your gratitude with that. And that's certainly something that I think we can all try to do more.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye, beautiful.